Hi, I'm Kevin Holmes.
And we're screwing up the spot.
And we're getting to know me through movies.
That was good.
Thanks for dressing up, Kevin.
Yeah.
Because he's wearing a sweatshirt, I'm like, I'm keeping mine on because it's cold.
I think I need to get a pair of these
well, first of all,
pants.
I didn't know that there was a dress code for this.
There's
but,
not.
you know, today's been a long day. I'm normally off on Friday, the day we're taping this right now.
Thank you.
And I came in because I love two of the three of yous here. The third one, I didn't realize that little boy Blue was going to be here, but you know I love you, Chris.
That's
You're all
Chris.
right.
I wasn't here on the last one.
Yeah, that's
so-
Chris, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's me.
You know, so happy to be here. You know,
Thanks for coming on your day off.
you guys are one of my favorite departments outside of news, and that's for real. That's even though we butt heads. I love you all.
Yeah.
That's real sweet.
Hey, I'm making this a compliment, man. You know.
And
So
you have something special.
yeah.
So
What's in your
I don't know
hoodie?
about you all. You guys may pay full price all the time when you go to movie theaters.
No,
AMC, I know you're
absolutely
Leawood based. Don't get mad at me, AMC. Don't kick me out. Don't sue me. I'll never do it at AMC. Maybe at other theaters. When you go to movie theaters, you sneak stuff in sometimes.
Yeah.
So we got popcorn. We got Pepsi. I prefer Pepsi over Coke. I'm like one of the
I'm with
rare.
you. It doesn't
Really?
burn as much. Yeah.
Pepsi over Coke for me
Yeah,
all
I
day.
agree.
And gummy bears.
Gummy bears are a
Yeah.
must.
Like gummy bears are legit.
Yeah.
Those are your movie snacks.
Well, hot tamales too, but we don't have those in the company break room. So
How do you feel about putting stuff in the popcorn? Are you one of those people that puts like chocolate in the popcorn?
No.
Chocolates? Okay.
No. I'm a very traditionalist when it comes to my popcorn.
Just butter.
That's fair.
Yeah, just
Lots
a little
of
bit
butter.
of butter. Just a little bit
Oh,
of butter.
just a little-
actually.
okay,
A little bit
not-
of butter, and I could go without salt too.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Man,
It's already pretty salty.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Like Sarah.
It's true though. I'm not even going to argue. That's a true statement. I'm a salty person. You were trying to burn me, but
I know.
look, it backfired on you.
I know.
Anybody want some gummy bears before you start?
Absolutely.
Or popcorn? Here, take some, pass them along. Popcorn, take some.
We
Yeah.
never actually. I don't know. How does this work for sound wise? Are people going to be like, "Oh, that's some ASMR podcasting
Just watch the
today"?
video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Listeners, we are eating popcorn and gummy bears.
Yeah.
Talking about a movie. You do that when you watch a movie too.
Chew and
If not, I
That is
judge
true.
you.
Well, it is how I feel when I sneak certain snacks into the movies because
Yeah.
people hear it and you're like,
thank you.
or they hear the can pop open or something. They're like, "There's no way they got this." here."
Justin hates the
Exactly.
sound of people chewing, so I'll try to avoid that in my microphone.
Yo, so I have snuck, like we talked earlier before this, I've snuck like tacos with like Berea sauce. Yo, so back home I also snuck an Italian beef sandwich with extra
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yo, and they had the movie theater smelling very legit.
I've done
That's
chicken
awesome.
strips and like sandwiches. Never
Yeah.
a taco. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In college, we snuck like sliders, like slider burgers in
Oh,
because a buddy of
Lord.
mine
Oh,
worked there right across from the theater. And I also worked at an AMC, so the stuff I found in the theaters is pretty wild. Like,
Oh, I can imagine.
yeah, wine bottles and liquor bottles and wallets.
I always think it's funny whenever I go to a movie. I haven't been lately, but last time I went, then you would hear maybe right when the preview started, click, click, click from everybody's pop cans
Yeah.
or alcohol cans
Yeah,
or whatever.
You have
and
to
I'm
wait
like,
for the right moment.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
My work study job in college, it afforded me many 22 ounces of Heineken. And I may or may not have snuck a few of those beverages into the movie theater in my college days, my younger days, Those are way, way beyond.
So that
behind
was,
me now.
what, 30 years ago?
It certainly feels like, yo, I'm coming up on, and I guess this will age myself. Next year marks my 20th anniversary for college.
Oh, man.
anniversary of college. Jesus.
Look at you.
I'm kind of right there with you though. So
But you look way better.
I know.
And way
I
younger.
do. It's so true.
That's a compliment she doesn't like.
Can you give me some of your grays, though? Because I really want gray beard and gray hair.
Only if you take some of this belly, too.
I'm getting there.
This is a good start for the podcast. One
Yeah.
of our better
I
introductions.
think everybody that we have on our podcast, now we have to tell them you have to come on our podcast and bring us food.
yeah.
Snacks. is
Gummy
the way
bears.
to go.
So, Kevin set the standard.
like
I don't. Yeah. Kevin, how long have you been at KSHB?
Halloween makes exactly 6 years. I started Halloween 2016. I came dressed as a news anchor. I fooled a lot of folks here, so my key card still works 6 years later. For frame of reference, I literally started a week before the presidential election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
Dark times. And how long have you actually been anchoring though? Because you weren't an anchor. You didn't start
He was the
anchoring.
fourth.
Thanks for watching, Justin.
He was always the fourth.
I
Yeah.
got hired to anchor a 4 o'clock newscast we called the Now KC.
That's right.
So I reported every day and anchored every day for an hour. I did that for about 2 years or so. And then the show as we knew it kind of morphed. So I got bumped to a 6:30 half hour that I anchored. And we had a wonderful Anna Carlton. I mean, she was brilliant. She is brilliant. She's one of our producers now here. She's our 10 p.m. broadcast, so she makes that a joy. But anyway, she did that show with me, 6:30, and we had a franchise at the time called Safe KC that I kind of was the face of. You know, where we're talking about crime solutions and people working to make our area better, a better place to live for all of us. And then, literally, I remember it like it was yesterday. I only remember it because my birthday's March 31st. So April 1st, 2019. I come into work, and I don't know why I was having a bad day already. April Fool's Day, you know? And the news director and GM at the time, they called me in their office. I'm like, what is this about? Jesus, what is this about, right? So they called me upstairs, and they said, hey, you know, making a change. We want to offer you the primary anchor job. I was like, it's April Fool's Day, man. It's not And they said, no, yeah, we're serious. You know, you and Krista, one of our former anchors, you know, we're going to move you guys to the main spot. And I was like, and I can tell this story now. You know, people know. Around that time, I was still contemplating. I was nearing the end of my initial contract at 41, contemplating my next move. I actually interviewed for a job back home in Chicago, and I remember them making the initial offer, and I called my agent, and I said, "Look, this is what they offered me." I said, "Look, call Chicago, see what's up." And we talked some more. And I mean, long story short, I won't bore you with details, but my agent was like, yo, this is a better opportunity. And she was more than right. And I knew she was. And you know, in my gut, I knew it was a great move for me to stay here.
You've always, I feel like, embraced Kansas City. And
I love Kansas City, man.
The second you moved here.
I love Kansas City. I really call this home. You know, I'll always, you know, be a native Chicagoan. Chicago will always have a special place in my heart. I mean, born and raised there in the city, went to college in the burbs. But I love Kansas City, man. Kansas City has groomed me in so many ways as a man. I hope, you know, one day it'll groom me as a father, as a husband. There's so much I love about here. I love the people. I feel like the people have really made it easy, both here at 41 and out in the community. Mm-hmm. I love Kansas City. You know, if I leave Kansas City, which I hope to never, it'll have to be because of one hell of an opportunity or because of a family reason. Because this is home and you guys are my family.
Well, you know, everyone that I talk to and they find out, oh, you work for 41, every single person I talk to says, I love Kevin Holmes.
And his laugh.
He's
got a great laugh.
Loves you.
He's got a great laugh.
The laugh we can hear from our department.
Yes.
So at my last TV station, Savannah, Georgia, we had a couple fun days where we did like superlatives. And it may come as no surprise. They voted me class clown.
Shocking.
They also voted me best laugh. But get this. They also voted me worst laugh.
Nice.
Most memorable laugh?
Best and worst.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's really funny.
Where else have you been besides Kansas City? Because you've been all over, right?
We got to keep this PG-13, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me just say that I've been around the block.
Okay.
I know Detroit was in there.
No, well, you know, no, not 60 miles away, Flint. So,
that's right.
you know, while in college, I interned at the NBC station in Chicago. After my internship, just to keep my foot in the door, I was a production assistant, you know, busting scripts. Back then we had paper scripts, and we separated them on color based on which anchor. And I would run up there. And it's funny because when I was a PA, I was on the assignment desk, Jerry Springer was being taped in the same area. Mm-hmm. So much like our newsroom here and our setup, the control room was on the second floor, and the newsroom was on the first floor. Ooh, sorry.
That's a Pepsi.
That's from the Pepsi, man. And, you know, all the producers will tell you I actually burp before every newscast. Legit, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
And
before every promo, too.
No, there you go. Better out than in. Yeah. So, you know, I remember running scripts up to the control room and then to the anchors and everything on set. And right across the hall, there were some days where Jerry Springer was taping as the newscast was going on. And I promise you, there's one time I had been on the job maybe a week, and I remember one of the producers for Jerry Springer hyping up somebody. Remember, man, I mean, she slept with your mom, man. I don't know about you, but I'd be upset if it was me. I mean, she slept with your mom. I mean, so get out there and get it to him. You know, and like literally, I'm like, holy hell, is this what I'm getting myself into? Anyway, so long story short, I was a production assistant there for a few months, about 8 or 9 months. Got my first on-air job in Flint, Michigan, where I worked with a guy in your department. I was a reporter there for 3 years, mornings, my whole 3 years. Jeez. My first shift, the first 2 years, was Wednesday through Sunday mornings. Jesus. And then Monday through Friday mornings. From there, I went to Memphis, Tennessee, where I was a reporter, fill-in anchor for 4 years. I went to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I was a reporter, fill-in anchor for 3 years. And I transitioned to the anchor desk as my primary role in Savannah, Georgia, where I was the evening anchor for a TV station there for 3 years. And now I'm weeks away from my 6-year anniversary at KSHB 41.
Congratulations.
Yay. Well, you've been around the block, like you said, so much that I remember seeing you on a Dateline episode.
Where, Memphis or Raleigh?
I think it was Raleigh, actually. One of the cases that he was on Dateline. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Kevin.
I love when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple. I think one was this missing soldier from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Kelly Bordeaux was her name. That case played out insanely.
Do people text you when they see you on that stuff?
All the time.
Oh, Kevin, I just saw you on Dateline.
All the time,
Kevin,
yeah.
I just saw you.
All the time.
Have you made like John Oliver yet?
I have.
I feel like that's a big one.
I have, and I've made Samantha Bee.
Yeah. Nice.
And
That's right. I remember that one.
yeah. Also, this Netflix thing here at 41. Netflix had some documentary. What was the name of that documentary? I don't remember, but it just came out. It was, and they were talking about what's the thing when you call somebody to another house and it's not the house, it's like a crime.
Oh yeah.
Swatting.
Swatting. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should know that as a news guy. Hi, I'm on your weekday. I'm on your television every day at 5, 6, and 10, but I don't know what the hell I'm talking
I
about.
would love to see that like on a news.
yeah, yeah,
show,
so-
like,
so I was
what's
on-
the name of that?
Right.
Teleprompter.
So
Yeah.
they used a clip of me for that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been on a couple of
It's good.
those
I like
things
the
about-
John
First
Oliver
48. Now, I don't know if you ever watched First 48.
Yeah.
But Memphis, when I was working in Memphis, First 48 crews there all the time. If you see any episodes from Memphis, there's probably a 60% chance, if not greater, that you'll see me when they say the Memphis media is on the scene. I was like,
That's me.
wheeling the microphone, yeah, that was me all day.
We're gonna just talk about
Sure.
movies now.
Let's just,
Kevin.
yeah.
I'm fine.
You're a
with it.
fan because we've had you on the podcast before. So sometimes we have guests.
No, we
that are
haven't.
Like,
I'm a first timer.
This is first
I
time.
feel like we've done a.
We've
just a
asked him
normal podcast
before. We've
You
asked
were
him
too good
before,
for us.
and he was
Okay,
too good
sorry.
for us.
Yeah. Now
Well,
we're
maybe
Y'all
it's just 'cause-
so full of you know what.
and now we're so big
Eat my
that
gummy
you
bears
you
now.
come in on your day off
Yeah.
just to
Thank
talk.
you for
Exactly.
coming. Okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe it's just my side conversations, but I know you're a fan of movies. I've lent you some of my movies. I'm pretty sure I've gotten them all back. Maybe I'm still missing one. I can't remember which one it is.
I
You give them all
returned
back to
mine.
me? I don't know. So that's good because not everybody is like super into like sitting down or going to a theater or whatever and watching stuff. So it's nice to have somebody who is a
Yeah.
fan of movies.
I stay away from people who aren't fans of movies.
Yeah. So what's the first one
Just
that
stay away from
you
you.
remember seeing in a theater? And he
Coming to
took
America.
notes, too.
Coming to
No
America.
kidding.
In a theater.
That's a good one.
Coming to America.
That is a really good one.
Me and my grandmother.
She took you to see
Yeah.
it. What
That
are your
was-
memories of that?
She was always a huge fan of Eddie Murphy, from Saturday Night Live and everything. I remember we hopped on the bus and would go downtown. We watched it at the movie theater downtown. I do recall that, and we snuck in some Garrett's popcorn.
Oh yeah.
So that was my grandmother's jam.
The caramel and the
caramel cheese mix,
Yeah.
the Chicago mix, all day.
I have that at home right now.
So I remember sneaking it in, and but I didn't appreciate that at the time because I was like 7, 8 when Coming to America came out. It came out like '89, so I had been 8, and I was like, Grandma, I want a hot dog. I want a real hot dog. Because matter of fact, we had hot dogs from the house, and she wrapped in aluminum foil.
Oh,
we had
there you
all the
go.
snacks.
There you go.
And I appreciate it now as a grown man, but as a kid, I'm like, I want a hot dog from the stand.
Yeah.
Concession stand. I want
Yeah.
popcorn from there. But yeah, man.
It'd be like a $6 hot dog probably at the movie theater.
And that was 1989.
Not
Yeah.
back then.
Oh,
No, it
back-
probably,
yeah,
it
back
probably
then.
still was $6 in Chicago.
Wow. What was the first movie that you made you cry?
I don't remember, man.
Do you cry often?
I welt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I cry. I welt. I thought I would never admit this, but I will with you guys. Only one time, because I've seen the movie like 5 times. Only the first time that I welt was when Jack died in Titanic.
You're the second person to say that.
What?
movie
Yeah.
made you cry. Or I don't
Just
know,
one time. After that, I was like, oh,
emotional.
Yeah.
Jack, you should have went into the next chick anyway. She ain't one stunning you. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Well, she was the selfish one because
Exactly.
she didn't move over.
I know. She should have.
There's room.
Exactly.
There's 100%
Yeah.
room on
He
that.
could have been on the
Exactly.
door. We all know that.
Exactly.
So other than that, I mean, do you
Get you a
do
woman who
cry?
love you.
Like you seem like you would cry. The only time I've seen you cry probably is when you're watching Bears football.
Oh.
Because I was going to ask you about sports movies.
That is
but-
very accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, I apologize to anyone who has had to stomach any Bears football game this season.
I don't watch Bears football games. I just watch you on Twitter. And I get the point.
My
of what's
co-anchor
happening.
Dia laughed at me yesterday because I went on a tirade on Twitter yesterday during the game, and I don't even realize it. It's like an outer body experience because this team is so awful, and they've been so awful all my life. I was 4 when they won the Super Bowl. I don't remember what happened. I was 4 years old. The next time they went to Super Bowl, I was 29. I'm in my 40s now. I've gone my entire 30s, and now the first part of my 40s without them reaching the promised land. It hurts.
I got nothing.
See, he's
The
getting
Bears.
emotional
Cool.
now.
They're there, Kevin. They're there.
I promise we didn't just bring you on so Chris could make fun of you the whole time.
You know what? Hey, I'm just that's just the real reason why you're staying in Kansas City is because we have a good football team
Now.
now.
We didn't
yes,
used
that's
to.
true. But ever since
I
you've
know
been
what
here,
it's
we've
like.
had
I
a
feel
competitive.
Kevin arrives, and the Chiefs are good. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I know.
And
I
the
know.
Royals.
Yep.
For a hot second.
I got here after that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I got nothing to contribute to the sports conversation. Kevin Holmes, who was your first celebrity crush?
Halle Berry.
What were you seeing
Yeah.
her in that solidified that?
Jet and Ebony magazine. Boomerang a little
I
later.
was gonna say Boomerang probably.
I mean,
I was gonna guess just becoming an adult in like the '90s. Halle Berry was
yes.
there.
Yes.
What's your favorite movie soundtrack? And I will say you're a music guy. Like
Yeah.
for those of
I
you
am.
guys that don't know Kevin, he is constantly playing stuff on his phone and jamming out and like he's
Before
he's a
newscast,
music
while
guy.
Yeah.
talking to people, during newscast.
So what's your favorite movie soundtrack?
Can I give you like 3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and 2 of them maybe from movies that people may or may not know. Above the Rim. Tupac is in it. Dwayne Martin. Came out like in the early 90s too, My favorite Tupac song of all time is on that soundtrack. A song by the name of Pain. Look it up if haven't heard it before. Menace to Society is another great soundtrack. I'm a huge fan of hip hop and R&B, so those are both kind of heavy on that. And the third one is Boomerang.
Nice.
Great soundtracks.
What movie do you find yourself quoting the most?
Oh Jesus. Major League, Coming to
watched that
America,
Really?
Paid in Full, as Justin has now seen. Friday After Next. Every once in a while, I'll be talking to some of my friends from college, and we will quote the movies to each other. Most of those movies, really, I watched dozens of times while sitting in the dorm room.
Give us a Major League quote that you say a lot.
In case you haven't noticed, and judging by the attendance you haven't, the Indians have managed to win a few games here and there and are threatening to climb out of the cellar. Boy, you may run like Mays, but you sure hit like, with your speed, you should be legging them out. For everyone you in the air, you owe me 10 pushes. I'm telling you, man. And the crazy thing is, Tire World, Lou Brown. Yeah. How'd you like to manage Indians? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? This is a chance to mention the big league level. Can I call you back? I got somebody on the line about some white walls. Like, I love that movie. This guy here is dead. Cross him off then. Like they're talking about players they're going to invite to training camp, and they got dead guys on the list, and she's like, just cross them off. Like, that movie is so epic.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I always like, it's a small one. I always like that. Just a bit outside.
But ball 4, ball 8. And Vaughn has walked the bases on 12 straight
I
pitches.
forget that announcer's name, but he has some really great.
He's so good.
Bob Uecker in real life.
Yeah.
What's a movie that you always defend no matter how bad people say it is?
Friday After Next. It's also my favorite Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie. It takes place in Christmas, in California. A lot of people, especially those traditionalists, they love the original Friday with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. I would argue that Friday After Next is the best out of that trilogy. It just takes you so many places in terms of comedy, in terms of a little bit of empathy, too. These are 2 struggling cats trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent during the holiday season. And they have all these exploits that are like beyond belief, but for some reason hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you rewatch like all of them though, or do you just use
Yeah, all the time.
Was that high school, college?
College.
I
remember first seeing Friday After Next in a movie theater in college with my friends with about 22 of Heineken I told you about that I got from my work study job. Poured into a little cup, and then, those people who worked in the movie theater probably cleaned up Heineken bottles for me. Sorry. But yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's also a franchise that they keep teasing they're going to do another one, like
Yeah,
this
they've
many
been
years
saying
later.
that for like years.
Yeah.
Let it die now. It's almost
Have you
like
seen
Coming
any
to
of them,
America.
Justin?
yeah, I've seen all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen any of them.
I don't either.
It is
Mine
so
said we're not the target
awesome.
audience for
Yeah,
that probably,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Tie that
They know
barbecue
they're
joint
good.
down the street where they give you more sauce and they give you meat. Bring your down to Brother Barbecue. I got one location, so it's nearest you.
My dad really liked the second one, so the second one was one.
Second one's good
Yeah,
too.
we got played a lot.
I like how you were able to edit out the cursing.
Yeah, you do it yourself, so we don't have
Yeah.
to. Thank you.
What is the most accurate depiction of news or a newsroom in a movie or TV show that you watch?
The Wire.
Oh, really?
I would say The Wire, and it's specifically, I think it's season 4, season 5, whatever season, kind of revolves around the news. Albeit it's more of a newspaper. You guys know
Right, yes.
the writers of The Wires are actually a retired cop
Uh-huh.
and a retired Baltimore Sun reporter. And that season of The Wire really focuses in on breaking some of these stories about corruption within the Baltimore Police Department, within Baltimore city government. Some of it may be loosely based, but some of it's based on some stuff that really happened. And just how they covered stories and the editors. And it's because of The Wire, to this day, I will never say in copy that people were evacuated. That instead, that was one of the things they talked about. You don't evacuate people;
Right.
you evacuate places and things. And so I say, this building's evacuated, not the people. That's literally, and that's from The Wire, literally for me. It's from
Yeah.
The Wire.
That's crazy. I was going to ask what your favorite sports movie is, but is it Major League?
Oh yes,
Okay.
it is definitely Major League and a close.
didn't know who she
not even a
was.
close. Right.
I just watched that yesterday. That's why I'm quoting it. It's funny.
I haven't seen the opening theme song.
Yeah?
That's on my little pre-newscast jazz playlist. There's a red moon rising on the Cuyahoga River. That's my joint.
Oh, my God.
Rolling in Cleveland through the lake. The mistake by the lake and it caught on fire. Like it really caught on fire. Like that song's about burn on Big River, Cuyahoga River.
Do you have a preference between sports movies that are comedies or ones that are trying to be dramatic and inspirational?
I like them both. I mean, remember the Titans is a classic.
That is a good
We Are Marshall is so underrated.
Sunshine.
Yeah, right. Sunshine. But I prefer the comedies. Although I say that, while Major League is my favorite sports movie, my second favorite sports movie is Any Given Sunday.
I just rewatched that recently.
Any
It's
Given
so
Sunday.
good.
Good one.
And my favorite line. Can I say my favorite line now?
Yeah.
So they're on the sideline. Well, two favorite lines. Jim Brown, Hall of Fame running back who is in the movie as one of the coordinators. The first string quarterback gets hurt. Second string quarterback gets hurt. Then Jamie Foxx goes in as a third string and becomes a stud. And he's talking to his defense. Y'all better do your job. I mean, we got a third string quarterback who can't throw for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. And I mean, it was just how he just goes off. And Lawrence Taylor, who plays one of the linebackers in there, after Jim Brown is yelling, he goes, Coach, calm down. You're going to have a stroke. I don't get strokes. I give them, MFer. That's what he says. I'm like, that's because so that movie, when you think about movies, you think about where you were in your life. And little known fact, maybe, I played college football for 2 years. And so I went to a small college where we took long bus rides places. And oftentimes that was a movie we saw during the bus ride.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
I don't think I've seen any gifts.
me
Oh, really?
and my teammates we would joke about that, and we would apply that to some of the coaches that we played for.
Is Willie Beeman on your playlist?
My name is Willie.
Yeah.
Willie Beeman. I keep
the ladies.
creaming.
You know what's
Meet
funny?
me, your dream. That's my joint.
When I rewatched that, he is in a commercial with a song after like a couple of weeks of playing the game.
right.
Like I don't know if
Exactly.
that would happen.
Inflate your chest.
Yeah.
Drink Metflex.
Yes. I heard
Hey, so y'all, I don't know if you guys know that, and Justin, you and I were talking about this earlier. You realize him and LL Cool J got into a real life fight on set.
Really?
And later on, after the movie came out, Jamie Foxx did a stand-up and was talking about it because while LL got upset about something and they were fighting for real, it wasn't until like 30 seconds of the fight that he realized, oh man, we're really fighting. He was thinking, good acting, LL. This LL's acting. He's acting. No, but he was really fighting him. Like it was a legit fist fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did he say during the scene that would piss him off so much that make him want to fight him? That's
I don't
funny.
recall. I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. Okay.
It came out in like 99, I think, right? And I was pretty young, and I remember watching it, and I didn't get it, and my dad didn't like it. I think it's just my dad is weird about like
Isn't Al
filthy
Pacino
language
in
and
that?
stuff.
Yeah, he gives a
And
really
so-
good speech.
He does.
Yeah,
He's got a great
Yes.
speech in
Yes.
there.
Yes.
But when I rewatched it like last month, I loved it. It was kind of crazy, the left turn. What's a movie that people give you the most grief for never seeing?
The Notebook. Why would I watch The
Oh,
Notebook?
really? That is a weird one to give
I don't
you.
know
grief.
anything
Yeah.
about The Notebook.
Yeah.
I don't know. Clueless. I don't know anything about those. Those aren't me. It's not my alley.
If you want to cry, you can watch The Notebook.
That's what I was just saying
Yeah.
to Chris when you're talking about Friday. I was like, we're probably not the target audience. You're not the target audience for Clueless. either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why
Somebody
is
told
Kevin
me.
going to be watching Clueless?
I forgot, and maybe you guys know. I had no clue that it came from a movie. A friend was telling me the Wednesdays We Wear Pink comes
Oh,
from a
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
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 I
Mean
was
Girls.
Yeah.
I was yesterday's years old when I realized that. I had no clue it was from a
Mean
movie.
Girls is another one that's pretty quotable though. Like I feel like I still say. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty quotable. And you might have you were probably aged out of it by then.
Yeah.
Maybe when
What
it
you
came
trying to
out.
say?
Nothing. You were probably too old for it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Kevin, you probably needed ARP at the time. Jesus, Justin.
Mean Girls. Yeah. Right on Wednesdays we wear pink. What is your favorite movie with some sort of tie to Kansas City? So it could be like a setting, filmed here, actor, filmmaker, etc. Do you have one?
Most recently, I actually did a story on this guy called The Royal. A movie called
Oh,
The
yeah.
Royal. Willie Mays Aiken, former Kansas City Royal in real life, played in the 1980s team that won the pennant and lost the World Series, I think, to the Phillies. He batted right in front of George Brett. And he eventually, in real life, went to prison for, dealing drugs and all this other sort of stuff, and then came out and turned his life around. I did a story on him, like, last couple months ago.
And his
Lost
name is
time.
Willie Mays.
Aiken. Yep.
Aiken. Willie Mays Hayes. I'm just
Right,
kidding.
Yeah, I
I'm
know,
just
right?
thinking of
You may run like Mays, but you hit like.
Willie Mays Hayes.
And the other one, because it doesn't take place in Kansas City, but it has Kansas City actors in it. 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it actually
Rudd.
did take me a second. I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" But yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. That's a good one.
Another quotable one for us.
So
Yeah, and another one I watched with my parents because I think I was in
Oh,
high
that's a
school
tough
when it
one.
came
Watching
out.
your parents.
Yeah.
that actually makes a lot of sense with the question I was going to ask you, which the question is on this list here.
Am I a
what
40-year-old
movie
virgin?
or movie character do you relate to the most? So
I
it
a
would be
40-year-old
40-year-old virgin, right?
41-year-old.
Yeah. But in all seriousness,
Actual answer though.
but actually in all seriousness, is there a character that you relate to the most, or a movie that you can relate to the most?
No.
Cool.
I thought about that. No, no. And it's funny because, I don't know if it's funny, but when you think about movies, I don't know if there's anyone I can relate to. I grew up in a lower middle class neighborhood, wasn't rich, far from poor. Grew up on the south side of Chicago, never in a gang, never did drugs, shot dice in high school, whatever. Yeah, that makes money. But I don't know. When I think of movies, especially people who look like me, they're either very affluent, doctors, lawyers, or they're like thugs, and I was neither. I really don't know if there's a movie that I've seen that even resonates with me. I mean, there might be one out there, but if it is, I haven't seen it. And if I have seen it, it must be very forgettable. I mean, so no. Yeah, I think I surprised a lot of people with certain things, like especially, the fact that I read a lot. I read like 20 some odd books a year. Although this year I'm way behind. I'm like on book 7. But the 7th book I'm reading right now is like freaking epic.
I forgot. What's that author that you're really into that has like
James
a series?
Baldwin.
Yeah,
Okay.
James Baldwin. You love James Baldwin.
Matter of fact, so one of his books came to life on the big screen just 2 years ago with Bill Street Can Talk.
That's a great movie. I think.
And so,
did you give that back to me? I'm pretty sure I listened to that.
yeah. And so, I read the book first though, right? So I read the book first, and watching the movie, as I was watching the movie, I was like, damn, this is what I envisioned Fawny to be, or this is what I envisioned this character to be. Like this was it. Whoever did the movie was on it, in my opinion. And granted, they made some artistic changes, which I understand. But yeah,
That was an emotional movie too. I feel
Very
like
much so,
that one made
man.
me. I'm pretty sure that one
very
made me
much
cry.
so. And you think about it, it seems like there are stories like that throughout the course of time. Shortly after that came out was the biopic on the Central Park 5. You think about all these people who have gone to prison, wrongfully convicted, and my man, the main character, if Bill Street Could Talk, did that, and he had a baby on the other side too. His girl was pregnant. They're supposed to be moving, stuff like that. So that story you see repeat itself over and over, and it can be draining as a viewer. I'm sure it's draining as an artist sometimes too. But I think like the jobs of movies and artists sometimes is to reflect life as it is and as it should be, you know. So I think that does a good job of doing both.
Have you ever been part of or seen a news story you thought would make a good movie or TV show?
Oh Lord, yes. And I actually wrote these down because there's been a few. In fact, one of them was the thing you saw on Nightline, on Dateline. Dateline. You know, it was a soldier out of Fort Bragg, Kelly Bordeaux. I shouldn't, you know, I don't want to defame her, but if my memory's correctly, she had a husband, a boyfriend, another friend on the side, and so when she went up missing, it could have been 8 of them cats, and it was some other random dude, and I mean, it was literally made for TV how they found her and whatever ended up happening, and then also there was this story. I was in Memphis. There was an NBA player named Lorenzen Wright who was murdered, and it wasn't until like 2 or 3 years ago his wife, so I was in Memphis in 2010 to put things in perspective. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until like 2 or 3 years ago his wife was finally convicted of his murder.
Wow.
His body was found in the field. So many people came out to the field. There were so many rumors about he was dealing with drugs. He was doing this, that.
You say he's a former NBA player?
Yeah, former NBA player.
I thought that I watched a documentary on
You probably did, because I might have been on that too, because what's 2020 ABC? I was on that because I was working for ABC affiliate at the time.
It may have been that, because I feel like I remember the story.
And then there was another one too, man, which I would say made for TV. It really was made for TV. There was a long, drawn-out part of First 48. They devoted a whole half hour to this. It was a massacre on Memphis called Leicester Street Massacre. There was these two brothers, hated each other, didn't care for each other, but they were brothers. And one of the brothers ended up murdering the brother's girlfriend, and a few of the kids. Tried to murder all the 4 or 5 kids that were in the house. And not all the kids made it, but the ones that survived are ones who told police eventually when they came to who did this. Uncle Junior did this to us, you know? And it's crazy. I remember covering the story as a journalist. I remember it was like rainy night, and I was a nighttime reporter in Memphis. So, you know, I had just filed my report. I wasn't live that day. We had, you know, a 9 and a 10 o'clock. So we had ABC CW. And I just filed my report for 9 to 10. About to go out the door, and they're like, hey, can you go check out this thing at Leicester Street, right? So me and another reporter went out there because, you know, scanner traffic was like crazy epic. So me and another reporter went out there. That was probably the first time I've seen a group of police officers crying. And it was so bad because, you know, there were like 4 or 5 kids, all under the age of like 7 or 8, who were just murdered or left for dead. You know, some of them survived. And
I don't want to see a movie about that.
Yeah.
That sounds so hard
it could
to
be.
watch.
Yeah. But it was, you know, but it's crazy because you only know what you know. And it was raining that day, and we were there, and I remember the media, we hugged each other and stuff. Made it home, and like 6 or 7 months later, the episode aired on First 48, and then they did another in-depth episode. So we learned even more that we didn't know, that we weren't privy to at the time. But it was like it just had us glued to our television, albeit morbid. It still was something that we couldn't turn away from. You know,
So like even in the moment felt like movie-ish if it's raining out and everybody's
yes, very much so.
Like a cinematic moment.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Man.
Very much so.
Let's talk about some movies that are really important to you, which I'm sure we've talked about a lot of these already. And you gave us, I think, 5. So what's the first one?
Coming to America. I have a shirt that I wore just last week. You know, I don't come to work dressed in my suit all the time. Sometimes I wear T-shirts for a number of reasons. One, I don't want my shirts to be all the way wrinkled when 5 o'clock rolls around. 2, I'm a messy eater. I don't want to have mustard on my dress shirt.
Oreo crumbs all over.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so those are a couple of the reasons. But I wore a shirt the other day that says, I put no chemicals in my hair, just juices and berries. And that's the line from him when he was, you know, in the barbershop. And then he's,
love that movie.
what you want done? Just make it neat.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be $8. Yeah, I mean, so Coming to America.
Joe Louis, you don't know no Joe Louis.
Right.
Did you watch the new one?
I did.
I fell asleep.
Oh, really?
Oh no!
I wanted to love it. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the wrong time to be watching it.
You know, it's worth a watch, but it's not in that cult classic pile.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the magic.
And
of the
I
first
think
one.
some of that mystique is lost when you try to do something 30 years later. You know, that's something that there's a finite window. You know, strike while the iron is hot, and if this sequel were like 2 or 3 years removed, then maybe.
I didn't need a sequel of that movie. It ended perfectly. Like I feel like just like trying to extend that storyline, like it just didn't.
That's why
he got his own money. When I tell you he got his own money, he got his own money.
That's probably one of my favorite comedies.
That's why I didn't rewatch it, because I was hearing a lot of mixed stuff about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just leave it alone, because I like the original so much. And he's bringing back Beverly Hills Cop now. They're filming the fourth one, so I'm
I'll have to watch
excited.
it, yeah.
But
That's
like,
gonna be great.
you know,
Right, but still so many years removed, though. Yeah,
yeah.
I still think I think that's a character you can bring back in and get naked. It's fun.
Yeah, well, we'll see. What's your next movie?
Paid in Full. We talked about that. Have y'all seen it yet?
Nope.
No.
And actually,
Justin
I'm
did.
embarrassed. Like, I'd never even heard about it. Like, I've never heard of that movie.
So Paid in Full is a movie that I've watched, I'm not even exaggerating, at least 100 times.
Why is it special to you?
College camaraderie. Me and some of my best friends to this day. We
Is
used
it
to
a
watch all the
comedy?
time. No.
No?
Like, it's got funny moments in it.
Yeah, it has several
But-
funny moments, but yeah, not necessarily. It's more of a kind of drama.
Cautionary tale.
Yeah, cautionary tale. Yes, very well said. And it's loosely based off of this drug dealer turned music producer's life, who was eventually killed. And it's crazy because in real life, the guy who killed him went to witness protection and just got out a couple years ago. And he was murdered. And mind you, this happened like in the 80s. Anyway, long story short, there's this guy who starts off from very humble beginnings. He has this is during the 80s, the crack epidemic. He has a best friend who ends up dealing drugs and who, becomes rich, but he kind of stays grounded. He accidentally falls into the game, starts dealing, becomes a huge kingpin. In the movie, he eventually gets out and becomes a record producer and a record guy. But all the exploits him and his people go through, everything from testing loyalty to testing love to rival
Who
gangs.
stars in it?
Wood Harris.
Wood Harris,
Mackay Pfeiffer.
Okay.
who in Winning Time, Wood Harris plays the role of Spencer Haywood. Spencer Haywood, who in real life was
Oh,
married to
yeah.
Iman.
Yeah.
Spencer Haywood in real life was
Wasn't
part
he
of
in The
like.
Wire too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also in The Wire.
And
Yes.
remember the Titans.
I like
And remember the
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
He's a great
Strong side,
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
strong side. Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit because Wood Harris is one of those guys that I never understood why he didn't
He's
become
amazing.
thing. and because he's really
Underrated
good.
actor,
Yeah.
arguably
Yeah.
the most one of the most underrated.
And maybe
actors.
it's his own thing. I'm sure there's like
He is
race
pretty
plays a part
amazing.
into it.
He's that
And-
guy that's like, I don't know his name, but Kevin.
Oh.
Wow.
Party foul. Sorry.
This is what
But
he
he's
can't
doing
play.
like
just
he's
broke
in like
Walter
a
White.
he was in like a supporting role in
He's
Ant-Man.
great.
It's like but he could be.
Yeah. I could not have told you his name,
Yeah.
but I
He's
know all
great.
the things he's in. And he's always impressed me. That's Walter White.
I thought it was Chris Allen.
Oh yeah.
The goatee.
Well, I had never heard of. I think I
Bag
knew
of
the.
meth. Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. What are you trying to say here?
I think I knew the poster for Paid in Full because I worked at a movie gallery in college and would see it, but I'd never really known anything about it. Or never seen
Pfeiffer,
it.
Wood Harris,
but it's
and
really
Cameron.
good.
The rapper.
Yeah, which that was one of the things. The guy that it's based on, because he wasn't happy with the finished product, and he thought they were trying to turn it into a showcase for Cameron to promote his album or whatever. But I thought the movie was really good.
You got no soy sauce, B?
Yeah.
Okay, that's on my list. What else you got?
Coming to America, Paid in Full, Major League.
Major League, which we talked about.
I just love that movie. Hey, Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Apocalypse Now is one of my favorite movies. I had to watch Apocalypse Now for a film class, senior high school. I took a lot of electives my senior year. So the school I went to, it was, I guess you would call it
Like a liberal
it was
arts
like a
school?
magnet high school. And so
High school.
but I went there since 7th grade. They had a 7th and 8th grade program where you tested into. So I took high school courses in 7th, 8th grade. I could have graduated my junior year. I didn't want to.
You're so smart.
Yeah.
So my senior year, I ended up taking auto shop. The basketball coach was the auto shop teacher, and I took this film class, and I had to watch Apocalypse Now. And I fell in love with that movie, man. I mean, you got Marlon Brando. You have, I think it's one of Lawrence Fishburne's very first movies.
Yeah, and
He's like a
he
teenager in that movie.
lied about his age to be in the movie.
Right, right. I mean, the movie is you got Martin Sheen. I mean, the movie is just epic. Vietnam movie.
My film class war movie that I fell in love with was Glory. We had that same thing.
Oh,
We did-
Glory,
we
yeah.
watched
Yeah, I
Glory.
remember
We
Glory.
went to for film
Yeah.
class and that
And
movie was a war movie
What's
too.
Glory PG-13 probably? Because I feel like I watched that in school, in high school, but then I never isn't Apocalypse Now seems like it's probably more for college.
Probably so.
Yeah.
But
I've never seen it.
It was so epic. Even the cinematography, and man, one of my favorite scenes. I think everyone's favorite scene is that crazy commanding officer. It's like they're surfing on the beach during wartime, and he is saddened when he goes over to the main character, and he says, "You know, one day this war's going to end." And he's sad about that. He's sad about that.
Crazy.
You know, and
Because that's like his whole life as a military.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I mean, and that was such a brief scene, but so poetic. You know, it's definitely one of my all-time favorites.
I've only seen it in the last 2 years, but it is one of those rare classics that I had never seen, finally watched, and really, really liked. All right, Kevin. I think that's all the time we have.
Thanks for the snacks. And
Thanks for being a
burping.
semi-pro.
Jesus Christ.
I see what you did there.
I had to go in there.
Yeah, that's
Oy
what we have to
vey.
deal with.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That you two have to
that's
deal
why
with
I'm the most hated person on this couch right now.
facts.
We're so glad that you took the time on your day off
Yes.
to
Yeah, thank you.
talk some movies. Let us learn a little bit about you. And I'm going to just quote Mean Girls at you all the time now, and you're not going to know what I'm talking about. So.
I mean, if you say Wednesdays wear pink, I know. That's it, though. Yeah.
Well, on Fridays we wear hoodies and turquoise
Right.
turquoise pants.
You can tell the definition of my calves. Yeah, right?
Well,
Hey, at least he hits the gym. It's something you don't know anything about.
that's
Mic drop.
yeah.
On that
we,
note,
we really do love having you,
On that
Kevin,
note,
on this
yes, we
podcast,
do.
and
Yeah.
you're genuinely the nicest person I think that we have ever had on the podcast. Right?
I mean,
Dia's going to see
We've
this.
had
and
some
she's
really
gonna
nice
get
people.
mad.
I know. Okay. You're,
She'll admit, though, she's meaner than me. that she will admit.
yeah. Yeah.
thanks, Kevin.
Thank you all.
Kevin.